Hi everyone, welcome to A Stitch in Time. Today is Saturday. It is January 18th, 2025, and this is episode 302. My name's Carol. I am known as Knits and Pearls on Ravelry, and I live east of Vancouver in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, Canada. I hope everyone's doing well and that you had a good week and a half since we last spoke. I don't usually record on Saturdays, but my husband is out disc golfing with our two sons at the moment. And frankly, I couldn't wait to show you my finished Advent projects. And so I thought I would sit down and have a little chat with you this afternoon. Before I show you what I've been working on, just a reminder, there is a new make-along taking place in the A Stitch in Time podcast Ravelry group called Stash Spectacular. Once again, we have a year-long chatter thread devoted to using up our yarn, fiber, and pattern stash. So if that sounds like something you are into, I would love to see you there. All right, you ready? Look, I finished my grand opening by Stephanie Lotvin of Telly Bean Knits. And I knit this from the Miss Marple Advent set that I bought for 2024 from Bluebird Yarns. I was looking on Etsy for a Canadian yarn Advent, came across this, and it just spoke to me because if you've been watching for a while, you know I'm a big Agatha Christie fan, and of course Miss Marple is one of her well-known characters. So you might remember I started off with a different shawl using this Advent called What Tomorrow Brings, I think it is, by Stephanie Lotvin, also knowing I wouldn't have enough yarn to complete it as written. And then in the end I didn't have enough yarn to knit it as I wanted to modify it, and so I took it all out, started all over again with this pattern, and I'm really glad I did. I had plenty of yarn in all of the colors to knit this exactly as written, and it has resulted in a really nice size shawl. It's about 6 feet across by about 2.5 deep, and it's just the perfect size to wrap up in the morning or in the evening or sitting in bed reading. And I just really love the color palette. Each color had something in common with the following color, and so even though there are quite a bit of differences between some of these colors, they do blend in very well. This was a 24-day Advent, but the shawl required 25 colors, and so I finished the last stripe with the large full-size skein, which was a day 25 skein. So it all worked out, and I have plenty left for a pair of socks. In fact, I have the perfect pattern to knit with this. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Oh dear, there's the furnace kicking in. I am not going to go turn it off as I often do. Hopefully the background noise is not too disturbing. It's rather chilly outside, so I don't really want to cool the house off any today. All right, so I'm going to bring this up over my face because it's too big to show you in one shot, and you will also then get a good look at all the different stitch patterns and colors. So here we go. This is color 1 at the very top. I will say I was a bit concerned with this last set of 4 colors because especially day 24 is very strong and quite different from all of the other colors in this palette. But I do think that this paler border using skein, the day 25 skein, helps to offset some of that strong color. So anyway, yes, very, very happy with this. Enjoyed it thoroughly, but I am ready to move on to some other projects. This occupied me between the old shawl and the new shawl, occupied me pretty well from the beginning of December right through till now. So I am looking forward to working on some other things now. And I've already photographed this and everything, so now I can start using it right away. I've got a lot of things spread out here. Trying to find a spot for it. I will not show you my spinning finished project quite yet. I'll go through a work in progress and then also some up and coming knitting projects first, and then I'll show you my finished spinning, which I am thrilled with. So since I finished my Advent shawl, I needed something to work on while watching TV last night with my husband. And so I pulled out my Burmese Basic 18 by Beth McDonald Stone. I can't remember when I cast this on. Sometimes I write it on my pattern. Let's see if I did. No. Oh, but I have in my notebook here. Well, it was last March. Last March 19th. Now I remember. My birthday is March 18th, and I think this was going to be my birthday cast on, and maybe I cast on the swatch on my birthday. I can't remember exactly. Anyway, this is what the sweater looks like, and it's a round yoked sweater, and I am adding a little bit of A-line shaping through the bottom, or through the body, I should say, and I am using two different yarns, holding them together. Sorry, I should have been better prepared. They're all popped in my bag here. I have some Merino DK from Mineville Wool Company, who I think is the same as Fleece Artist. And it's just green, beautiful, kind of an emerald green, Kelly green maybe. Beautiful, beautiful. And then also I have Fleece Artist Saldana, which is a merino lace, and that's in the cedar colorway. This particular light, you're seeing some variation. There is some light and some dark in it. When I wound up my yarn, this was all in one big amount. How much is on here? 1,200 meters. There was definitely a lighter half and a darker half to the skein, and when I wound up the Merino DK, again there was a lighter and a darker, and so what I ended up doing is putting the lighter lace weight with the darker DK and vice versa, so that I could try and spread the color out as much as possible. Plus I am alternating the skeins and doing helical knitting to blend the colors as well as I can. And so here's where I'm at. I don't know why I haven't worked on this more, because it is beautiful. I figured out I'm probably about 5 to 6 inches away from finishing the body. And so a few more inches of knitting, and then a good, I think 2.5 inches of ribbing. And then of course the sleeves. So it feels good. It's really soft, and I'm still a little nervous about the fit up in the top, but it is superwash, and so I'm pretty sure it's going to give some. I keep waffling back and forth whether or not I should block this now, but I'm not sure how it'll affect things once I start knitting again. So I think I'm just gonna take my chances, hope for the best. I know, whenever I say that, it's like, I'm not very good at that. I like to have things in control as far as my knitting goes, so you know, but we'll just see, hope for the best. If it doesn't fit me, I'm sure there's someone in my family that it will fit, but honestly, I'd rather have it for myself. So we'll see. So up and coming, I had mentioned last episode that I was going to use this, I've wound them up into balls, this spinning set from Fiber Nymph Dye Works called a Legacy. I was going to use it to knit the sweater called Karina by Isabel Kramer. So I did this morning, so I'm leaning to grab my things. This morning I did sit down and start swatching a little bit. I haven't purchased the pattern, but I did knit a little bit of stockinette from this Cascade 220 Sport in color, I think it's 4002. Yeah, 4002. I had some stash left over from a sweater that I'd made for my husband a number of years ago. And then I ordered some from Webb's, which is now in Canada. As of yesterday, it's in Toronto. And so I'm hoping to receive it by early next week. And then I can really go ahead on this. I don't want to start too much in case the dye lots are quite different. But I thought I would go ahead and swatch. So I did get gauge in the stockinette portion right away. And then I thought I'd start playing. I wound up the first color. I think it's acid green. And just started playing with the zigzags a little bit. Now, this yarn, all of my skeins are a little bit different. I did a chain ply, so there's 3 plies together, and it started out much finer than it ended up. And so I know there is some variation both in the weight of each of these colors, but also in how much I have. And so I was looking at Karina, and I realized that it's knit from the top down. So until I get to the bottom section, I'm not going to know if I have enough yarn to complete the zigzags as written. I've looked on some other people's projects. I think I'm in the neighborhood, but I've also was thinking, well, then maybe what I should do is a top-down yoked sweater and have the colors here on the yoke. And I was thinking about, oh, I meant to bring it in here. 1 minute. I'm just going to go grab a different sweater I want to talk about. So I'll be right back. This is the Thrustone cardigan by Bristol Ivy, which I knit a few years ago. Oh, good. The furnace has kicked off. So I knit this a few years ago, and this is knit from the bottom up. Because I thought, oh, maybe I can do like a yoked sweater, and this cardigan fits really well. And it also, with the pattern, came with just a sweater version, pullover version. I thought, oh, maybe I can use this as a template and do color work at the top. And then I realized that this sweater is knit from the bottom up. So that complicates things. So then I started thinking, well, maybe I could still use this sweater as a template, but do some sort of zigzaggy pattern on the bottom, similar to Karina, but and I would know right away then if I have enough yarn to do it. I can fiddle around with it and then just continue to knit the body and finish off with a plain top. So I'm not exactly sure yet. It's either I need to either find a top-down sport weight yoke sweater that I can adapt and do color work at the top, and then knit the body plain, or like I say, maybe do this sweater and improvise with some kind of colorwork pattern on the bottom. So still some thinking to do there, and probably some swatching and experimentation. And so this yarn will be a sweater one day, and soon, I hope. I just need to settle on what I'm going to do with it. So that's a little bit up in the air, but I'm excited to have wound up all the yarn, and just I'm just on the cusp. Did I use that expression already? It's been going through my mind. Maybe that's the name of this episode, because I just feel like I'm on the just the cusp of a number of new projects. And it's the new year, and all of that. I did wind up the A Legacy colorway of the self-striping yarn from Fiber Nymph Dye Works. This is the bounce base. So those are ready to go. I'm ready for a new pair of socks on the needles. These are the minis. I'm going to get to around the heel area and see which of these colors fits in best as the heel. And then I will also be using these minis and leftovers from the socks to knit a couple of squares for my blanket of cheer. And so looking forward to casting that on. I want to work on these in conjunction with the sweater. Also, I have lots of scraps, actually quite a lot of leftovers from my Miss Marple collection. The last few stripes took more, but most colors I've actually, maybe a quarter to half to, in some cases, like color number 1 up here at the top. I mean, I have almost a full 20 grams, so probably have like 17, something like that, 18. So I'm going to do some scrappy socks. I'm going to start at the toe with color 1, work my way up. Haven't decided what I'm doing for the heel. Maybe I'll have enough to do heels out of this. And then this colorway, the Day 25 colorway, it was called, or is called, Christmas in St. Mary Mead. And St. Mary Mead is where Miss Marple lives. And I know that Olivia, I think it's Olivia Villarreal, I think that's her name, of This Handmade Life. She has several Miss Marple themed, Agatha Christie themed sock designs, and she has one called St. Mary Mead, and it's a beautiful lace weight, very dainty sock. So I thought, what better socks to knit out of Christmas in St. Mary Mead? So those are going to be coming up, whether that's a now project or whether that's a future project, I'm not sure, but that's what this yarn is going to become. So that feels good to find a use for both the leftover of this, and then I'll still have leftovers of the other advents, but I can use those in different projects in the future. I doubt that I'll have another major project, but you never know. I'm not sure how much I'm going to have left. Just looking down here at my notes. Yes. So I think that's it for my up and coming. And so I am going to show you my new yarn. So I had purchased the fiber set, the BFL fiber set from Fiber Nymph Dye Works for the 2024 Advent or Holiday Countdown collection, and this year's theme was the mystery of color. So as I explained before, I had 24 approximately 10 gram lengths of fiber. So the first thing I did is I weighed them out and broke them into half. And then the next thing I did was spin 3 bobbins with those halves. So I did colors 1 to 8 on bobbin 1, colors 9 to 16 on bobbin 2, and colors 17 to 24 on bobbin 3. And then I took the remaining half, approximate 5 grams of fiber left of each color, and I divided them into 3. And then I spun 3 bobbins. Bobbin 4 was 1 to 24, so was bobbin 5, so was bobbin 6. So they all had approximately the same amount of yarn on them. And then what I did is I took bobbin 1 and plied it together with bobbin 4, bobbin 2 with bobbin 5, and bobbin 3 with bobbin 6, so that I ended up with all 24 colors in the bobbin, but plied on the different colorways. And so this is what I got. So this is bobbin 1 of the plied yarn, and so it began with this purpley color and ended with yellow. And so I think it ended in green, had some green in it. Yeah, this, I believe, oh no, it ended in orange. No, it didn't. Yes, it ended in green. Sorry, trying to think. This pale green and pale pink, that is color 8 and color 24. So overall, this is how bobbin 1 turned out. Oh, I've caught on something, so it's not hanging properly. You can see all the wonderful barber poling. And then this is skein number 2, which looks totally different. It started with green and it ended with like I think this orangey pink, if I remember right. So there's yellow in there, green, yellow, gold, orange, and a little bit of pink. Isn't it amazing how different these 2 skeins look? And then we have the 3rd skein, which began with pink, or kind of a purpley, pinky purple, I think it was, and it ended with pink. I think that's how it worked. And so here are the 3 together. So as I was beginning to ply, I had a little bit of a revelation. So I started, when I spun the first half, I started with color 1 and spun that half all the way through to color 8 on the first bobbin. And then I did the same with 9 through 16 and the same with 17 through 24. And then when I spun the first bobbin of the 1 to 24, I started with color 1, went all the way to 24. So when I plied that first bobbin, I was starting out by plying colors 8 and 24 together, because I was working then from the outside in, so I was working in reverse. And then I got to the end, and I still had, even though the bobbins weighed a pretty similar amount, I still had color 1 and a touch of color 2 left on the 1 to 24 bobbin. And so, in fact, at the beginning, color 1 never got plied with color 1. And then I started thinking, well, my intention is to knit something, start from the very beginning and work all the way through the entire 1 to 24. with the half amounts, the longer amounts. And so I realized that if I wanted to pick up where I left off, I needed to start with color 1 and color 16 and be plying those. And so I wound off those bobbins and I started bobbin 2 with color 1 of the short amounts and color 9. And so once again, even though the amounts were fairly close, I ended up with extra of my short amounts. And so I think I probably ended with color 16 and color 22, I think, maybe just going into color 23. And so what I did when I spun the last 1 to 24 bobbin, I started with color number 24, spun them all up, added that extra from the bobbin 5, I guess it is, onto the beginning of that. So then when I plied the third bobbin, I was plying together, I think it was color 22 or 23 with 17. And then what happened is I got to the end and I had some extra on my short bobbin. I had extra of color 24, and I ended up plying it with the extra color 1 from the very first bobbin. And so that I think would have been maybe that, I think. In any case, when I finished plying those together, I had about, I don't know, this much of each one left, but they were ratty. I didn't use them. I didn't go back into color 2. I had about this much of color 2 maybe, and I didn't bother using the last little bit of color 1 because it had gotten some grease on it. It had gotten spun on the caught on the bobbin, or the whatever it was that ended up the flyer. Got a little bit of grease on it, so it was dirty anyway. So I could not believe how perfectly it worked out. And so I'm not sure if anywhere in here, maybe in the yellow section, but I'm not even sure about that. I'm not sure if any color actually got plied together with itself. And I like that. So there's barber pulling throughout, even though some like that is much more subtle than, you know, something like that is. So I am planning to use these in a project from beginning to end and see all the color gradations. But I just could not believe how beautiful it is. I think it's just so pretty. And I've been thinking about what to do with it. One of the projects I keep thinking about, and I would technically have enough yarn, is the Pressed Flowers, I think it's the Pullover by Amy Christophers. And I have some navy, merino, I think it's merino and a little bit of mohair in it. I have some yarn I got years ago in Australia from the Bendigo woolen mills. And I thought that would contrast really well with it. That or an off-white would really show off all the colors. The only problem with that is that it's fine as long as you're working on the body and you can work down and work in color progression. But then when you do the sleeves, first of all, you would break that color progression from the yoke down. Although the pressed flowers may not be, it might be a drop shoulder, in which case you would just start from here and work down. The only thing is that it would mean that the sleeves would not be able to be the same. On the other hand, if I'm using yarn from the end of the third skein, they might be kind of in a similar color palette. So I haven't decided. If I did the pressed flowers shawl, I could easily use it from beginning to end, but I'm not sure if I want to do another shawl right now, and I'm just not sure. So I get to think about this, but I'm really happy because I get to use all of this. I ended up with 265 grams approximately, just a little bit over that. And my guesstimate is about 539 yards. That is just a guesstimate. So I'm not exactly sure what weight that ends up being. I tried the wraps per inch. I think it's like Sport to DK, but then when I look at what the Cascade 220 BFL is, I think it's a DK weight, and it has more yardage than I have versus this. So I don't know. Any case, I'll figure it out, but one last look. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And now that I've shown it to you, I can wind it up in a ball, and I can't wait to see how it looks wound up in a cake. Maybe what I will do is after I finish here, and before I edit, maybe I'll wind it up and take a picture, and then you can see how it looks in the cakes, because I think it's just going to look really cool all caked up. This is Carol from the future. I thought, why not just come back and show you rather than post a picture? So there is skein 1. This is skein 2. And here is skein 3. You can see on the outside there, that's color 24 plied with color 1. I'm so happy with how that serendipitously turned out. So there are the 3 skeins together. From the inside out is the color order. So those are going to be so fun to work up. What I forgot to mention earlier is that once again I am taking part in the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Make-Along this year. And this year's theme is Choose Your Own Adventure. So once again, you pretty much have carte blanche to decide what you want to accomplish this year and work your way through those projects. And then Lisa of Fiber Nymph has brought back a Fiber Nymph Dye Works component this year. She didn't have that, I think, last year, maybe even the year before. But if you work with either spin or knit, crochet, weave, a certain amount of Fiber Nymph Dye Works product this year, you will qualify for a special skein. I can't remember if it's a special skein or braid of fiber, but certainly a special skein of yarn. And so this will count for, what did I say, 265 grams. And then if I knit it up, that qualifies for another 265 grams. I've got my A Legacy socks that will probably take about 70 grams. And then my A Legacy fiber, it was mostly spun in December in 2024. So the spinning part of this won't count, but I'll be able to use the grams in something I make, as long as I think you have to have at least 25% Fiber Nymph Dye Works yarn in it. I'll have to review all the rules. If you are interested in participating, it's always a really chill, friendly group of people. You can go to the Fiber Nymph Dye Works group on Ravelry, or you can also check out fibernymphdyworks.com. I'm pretty sure that Lisa will have information about it there. I'll provide links for both of those places, as well as everything else I've chatted about in the show notes, which can be found down below the video on YouTube where it says more. Click on that. It extends the menu, and there's also a link to the Fiber Nymph Dye Works, or pardon me, the A Stitch in Time podcast, Ravelry group, and the blog where I also post show notes. So yeah, back to the regular podcast. All right, that is it for all the crafty talk. I didn't think I had that much to talk about today, but it seems I've managed to kill about half an hour talking about nothing, apparently. Yeah, fairly ordinary week. Curling Monday and Tuesday. We lost Monday, won Tuesday. I had gotten new curling shoes last week, which I am liking. I did have a doctor's appointment this week. I've had an issue with my right foot, and it seems it may be caused by having my foot leaning out more that way, putting pressure on the side here. So I had to go for x-rays, and if that's what it turns out to be, it can be fixed with orthotics, and I'm assuming some exercises and things. So hopefully that'll clear up, because I'm finding that I can't walk and be active on my feet for that long before it starts to bother me. So hopefully that's all it is. Carol popping in from the future again. I meant to say that my spinning wheel is a single treadle model, and I do treadle with my right foot. So while I don't think that spinning has caused this imbalance or torsion of my foot, it wouldn't surprise me if it contributed or exacerbated the problem. And so I am going to take a little break from spinning, a week or two, and hopefully with treatment, the issue will right itself. Exciting this weekend. I don't know, it's exciting, but it's makes me happy. We are heading up next weekend to go see my mom, and her birthday is the week after. We usually try to go up around her birthday. We had been aiming for the weekend after, but I'd forgotten she is going to be actually coming down here and then going to Italy with my younger sister on an organized trip. So they'll go and get her next weekend and bring her down. When I say they, I mean my sister and my brother-in-law. But we thought we would go up anyway and have a visit with her this coming weekend. And so that should be fun. It's always just neat to go up there in the winter. It always looks a little different than in the summer when we spend most of our time. And so no doubt we will make a trek out to the cabins, which are about 10 miles, 17K from my mom's place, and just check things out. Yeah, it's just always neat to see the landscape. It looks completely different when there's snow. And they have had snow. We have not had any snow. Well, I shouldn't say that. We've had, there was one day, I think a week or two ago, where we did have some snow coming down, but it didn't stick. But it is chilly out. It's frosty. It was really frosty this morning. Got snow on the mountains. Definitely feeling a little nip in the air today. We've had, in general, a really mild winter. But I'd love to see at least one snowfall. Would be kind of cool. And something good. So one of my cousins, we recently learned, had been in hospital since New Year's with some serious health problems, and happy to say found out this afternoon that she was going home today. So yay. Happy to hear that. And I think that's it. So because we're heading up to my mom's, it's going to be a short week. Cameron's going to take Friday off. And so it'll be a short week next week. So if all goes as planned, I will be back with you the following week. And hopefully by then, surely by then, I will have some things in progress to show you other than just my Burmese basics. So I hope you have a good couple of weeks yourself. Take care, enjoy your crafting, and thank you so much for watching. See you soon.